What if I told you one of the most quintessentially British motorcycles began with a man fleeing military service in Germany? What do you see when you look at a classic British motorcycle? Maybe a thunderous Norton or a roaring Triumph, but today I'm going to introduce you to one whose elegance and refinement have quietly shaped British motorcycling history, the Velocette. And here's the twist. Though it's made in Birmingham, its origins trace back to a young man fleeing military service in Germany. Today's video explores how this German immigrant turned family business, climbed to racing glory, crafted engineering marvels, and left a legacy that continues to captivate collectors and riders. Strap in. This is the unexpected story behind one of the most underrated British marques ever. In 1876, near Cologne in what was then Prussia, a German lad named Johannes Gütgemann was born. Like many of his generation, he chose a life abroad, partly to escape military conscription, partly to chase industrial dreams. At 19, Johannes arrived in England, eventually anglicising his name to John Taylor, and later John Goodman. He set up shop in Birmingham, then Britain's powerhouse of manufacturing, and launched Taylor & Goo, building bicycles and components. By 1904, they'd acquired the Kellicum Engine Company, a move that marked their entrance into the emerging motorcycle market. Around this time, the company formally became Veloce Ltd, Latin for Swift. But it wasn't yet Velocette. That would come 9 years later. Through the 1910s, John's son Percy Goodman, his brother-in-law Eugene, and a small team of engineers worked tirelessly. They built their reputation on precision, their engines meticulously machined, traits that unmistakably bear the stamp of German engineering. By 1913, they launched a two-stroke lightweight called the Velocette. The diminutive name paid homage to speed and refinement. It sounded charming, rode elegantly, and the name stuck like glue. Though the Velocette name emerged in 1913, the company continued as Veloce Ltd until the mid-1920s. Over that time, they built fantastic machines like the 1921 D2 and 1923 B3 models, all favouring engineering purity over flash. But in 1926, with a racing pedigree already taking shape, the name Velocette became the formal company identity, finally aligning brand and ambition. Uniquely, Velocette focused on quality over volume. These machines were precision engineered, beautifully balanced, lighter and faster than heavier rivals of their displacement. That philosophy soon paid off in races. Enter the K-Series, a family of overhead camshaft singles that would define the brand's engineering reputation. In 1925, Percy Goodman introduced the KTT, K-Twin Type 348cc OHC engine, dry sump lubrication, lightweight frames, inboard clutch, and the world's first positive stop foot gear change. Only racers usually had hand shifts at that time. This was a game changer. That same year, Alec Bennett rode a KTT to win the 1926 Isle of Man Junior TT, building a 10-minute lead, a stunning debut that secured Velocette's place in racing history. After that, they repeated success throughout the 1930s to 1950s, with riders like Stanley Woods and Jeff Duke pushing the machines further. Velocettes raced everywhere: Brooklands, Daytona, Island circuits, always punching above their weight. The KTT was remarkable. Between the chassis and engine, Velocette threw in swing-arm rear suspension centuries before many of their competitors. That meant better handling, comfort and speed. Their pushrod and overhead cam engines were narrow, precise and mechanically simple, a departure from the chunky, heavy pushrod beasts of the era. But innovation didn't stop there. In the 1940s, they launched the LE, Little Engine, a 149cc flat twin with shaft drive, oil bath clutch, and ultra-quiet operation. British police nicknamed them the Noddy Bike because the riders nodded silently through traffic, no roar required. Parallel to that came the Venom in 1955, a sleek 500cc single that carried the craftsmanship DNA of the KTT into a road sportster. It was compact, smooth and made around 34 brake horsepower, pushing past 100 miles per hour. In 1961, a Venom broke endurance records, averaging over 100.05 mile per hour over 24 hours at Montlhéry. It remains the only 500cc single to hold that crown. Another cafe racer legend followed in 1965, the Thruxton. Essentially a Venom tuned and trimmed for club racing. In the 1967 production TT, they finished 1-2, proof that Velocette could still win on the biggest stage. Velocette never chased volume. They didn't flood the US market or build cruisers. Instead, they built doctors' bikes, railwaymen's daily rides, racers for petrolheads, machines designed to feel as much as to function. So why did the brand fade? The post-war era saw a revolution in manufacturing. Companies like Honda, Yamaha and Triumph began mass-producing motorcycles. Velocette, still family-owned and hand-built, couldn't match the economies of scale. Attempts to diversify, like the flat-twin LE and various scramblers, helped, but not enough. The financial pressures mounted in the late 1960s. In February 1971, Velocette went into voluntary liquidation, closing its doors forever. The last production Venom rolled off the line in July, ending an era of refined engineering. But death of the company didn't kill the legend. Riders and collectors fell in love with Velocettes for their craftsmanship, balance and engineering pedigree. Today, KTTs can fetch £40,000 to £60,000 at classic auctions. Venoms and Thruxtons are similarly prized. Velocette clubs thrive. Families, engineers and historians preserving the lineage. Restoration specialists handwork gearboxes and restore engines to mint condition. Their legacy isn't about loudness or flash, it's about precision, refinement and soulful riding. This dichotomy, British charm with German discipline, still defines Velocette's magic.